Uh, hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Sprout and Dusty Show. I'm one half of your gracious co-host, Sprout the Anti-Hero, and I'm broadcasting personally out of Parker, Colorado. And also to the screen beside me is Dusty Grant. Say hello.
What's up, guys? Happy Friday to y'all. I hope you guys had a good week. I hope you're trying to make it through all the mess out there. I'm stoked to be here tonight. We got some awesome guests. Before we get the show started, I do want to say this episode is brought to you by Big Fish Bail Bonds, Wichita's #1 bail bondsman. If you find yourself in a jam, give them a call. They can help you out 24/7 in Sedgwick County or Wichita. 316-262-4100. Big Fish Bail Bonds, because jail sucks.
Yes, it does.
So Sprout, how's your week been going, man? Tell us a little bit about what's been going on with you this week.
I've been blacker and more punk rock than I have in years.
I've seen the social media. I've seen the social media.
Well, I ain't gonna get all preachy tonight or nothing like that, but I do just want to say that because of everything going on, I have asked people to sit at a table and talk with me and talk with each other. And man, I've talked to dozens of you. I mean, dozens. I've still have yet to answer emails. I've been giving complete strangers my telephone number. The conversations that I've had with people, they were very, very eye-opening. And trust me, I've talked to all kinds of different people. I've talked to police officers. I've talked to everybody, from the beanie hat to the MAGA hat, and we all had some things in common. We had a common ground in certain things when it comes to life and just being a certain way and making things peaceful for everybody. So I just want to tell everybody that those conversations are constructive, and a lot of what I think has changed just within a few days. So that's good. I just want to say, if you guys still want to talk to me personally, you guys can find my page anywhere. Find me, Gregory Allen Manuel, my page. Let's keep this conversation going. Like I said, I always keep it peaceful, and I think the reason these conversations work is because I do sit there and I listen and I ask questions. And the amount of respect shown between me and the people I'm having conversations with has just been excellent. So keep that rolling, anytime.
That's encouraging to hear. I think a lot of it. I think a lot of it. Sorry, I got some noise here, but I think a lot of it does have to do with keeping your ears open.
Yes.
Listen to what's going on. I think everybody's initial instinct is to just knee jerk and react on emotion and completely blow things one way or another, whichever side they feel towards. They tend to overcorrect each way. And I think that makes a pretty destructive environment sometimes, especially on social media, where you're not held accountable for a lot of the stuff you say in person.
No. Hey, how you doing, Hugo?
Hugo, what's up, brother?
Well, before we get into our guest tonight, we want to ask you guys about music. Obviously, most of us have some sort of streaming service, or we have a CD collection, or some of us collect vinyl. So what are your favorite music formats? I have to say that personally, I've been buying vinyl for a while now, and it's only because I'm tired of buying air. I remember being a little boy, and my mom made me turn over the same Rolls Royce record over again and over again and over again, the same Hall & Oates record over and over again. So that's what I remember hearing music on first in my life. And of course, it was no different when I started being older, of course, and buying CDs. I really did enjoy, just sitting down and listening to music and looking at a product. So I want to know how you guys consume music, and I also want to know what your favorite artists to listen to, as well as sound and their products. Who do you like?
Post it here, send it to the show, guys. What's up, Sonny? How are you doing, brother? Definitely. Before we get started, too, guys. Definitely check out our YouTube channel. Go subscribe to the Sprout and Dusty Show on YouTube. All the archived episodes are going to be there. We are produced by FatKid Productions. We're very thankful for Derek putting us on here. Just taking care of some of this business stuff before we get down to the meat and potatoes of the episode. Sprout, if you're ready, I think it's about time to introduce our guests.
Indeed.
Okay, so go ahead. You can do the honors if you'd like, sir.
You know what? We'll split that.
All right.
So this next guest that we have on the third episode, he is a Kansas mixed martial arts legend. He is a brawler. He is a baller. He is an entertainer, and he is sure to whoop that ass. Continue, Dusty.
David, the Caveman Rickels. David, how you doing tonight, brother?
Yo, what up?
All right.
How's everything going for you?
Man, my kids are healthy. I'm eating food. I live in a house. I'm fucking happy, man.
Yeah. Are you in camp right now? Are you in training mode? Are you eating what you want, drinking what you want? Got some seltzer there.
Yeah, brother.
Cheers, sir. Cheers. Cheers.
I'm always training. Like, I did an hour and a half workout this morning. I'm always staying in shape, but I'm technically out of camp right now.
All right.
I got you.
Although, a lot of people here, especially in Wichita, would know that we had this bare knuckle fight that was canceled due to COVID.
Yes.
And, they all got tickets still. They're sitting there waiting. They want to see some caveman action. You know what I mean? They want to see Joe Wilk, Joe the Nose. Man, so we're just waiting, honestly, to figure out a perfect date or whatever it is that bare knuckle can come back to Kansas, to Wichita, to Interest Bank Arena, and we can fight.
All right. And for those of you guys that don't know, that don't keep up with the fight world, bare knuckle fighting has now come to Kansas, and we get a perfect opportunity to see Caveman Rickels in action, doing what he does best for his hometown and his people. So if y'all ain't got tickets yet, get those things and support your local mixed martial arts and support your promotions.
So Dave, have they given you a date, anything tentative or anything like that, or what's the story with that?
The tentative date at this moment is August 14th, but I don't have a contract signed, so like I said, it's just tentative. And I know, truthfully, from like a little inside point, most of this is coming down to interest.
Mm-hmm.
Most of this is like them allowing people to come back into their buildings and stuff like that. So I think they're probably waiting to see like what happens with reentry and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Now that everything's back to normal, like our case is going to spike, what's going to happen, this and that. I'm sure they're waiting a little bit.
So everybody, it seems like everybody has to dip their toe in the water. They're even talking about that stuff in the NBA where there's 22-team tournament, weird style, quarantines. We're seeing the stuff with the UFC. What's your opinion on the no crowd fights?
I mean,
I personally, as a fan, but like as a fan of the fights, I used to think the crowds were obviously they play a big role in it. But for me, I actually like being able to hear the coaches. I like to be able to hear the smacking going on. I like to be able to hear the guys breathing, talking shit, celebrating, like getting that visceral feeling of what it's actually like to get us closer to that. And that is something with this that I've really found a silver lining. And the UFC has done a good job. Those broadcasts have been fun to watch, and they have had some bangers for fights too.
Oh yeah.
And I imagine if you're a fighter, you're just chomping at the bit to get back out there and throw hands, right?
For me, I'm just like really hyped to compete again, man. Like, this is, the longest I've ever been is 11 months in between a fight. And we're coming up close on that.
That's hell for somebody like you.
Yeah, you got to get in there. You got to get in there and settle down.
We're just slowly creeping towards that, especially if we go into August. You know what I mean? So
right.
I just, I'm ready to get back in there. It's, for when you're doing this for 10 years, man, like you're really kind of used to like, oh, I got to fight. I got to really take care of my body. I got to stop drinking. I got to eat healthy. I got to eat clean. Mm-hmm. And then I can dick off for a couple of weeks. I can have some beers. I can have some drinks. And man, with this COVID and this quarantine, man, it's not been healthy for me. I'll tell you that.
I don't think it has for anyone. Like, I've been on this huge kick. I've been on this huge kick the past couple of weeks because, man, I was sitting at work and I had my jeans on, and them shits were like, I could feel my gut just like swelling over the top of them. And I'm sitting there at my desk all day and I just wanted to loosen my belt, but I wouldn't let myself loosen my belt. I'm like, no, you're going to suffer all day. You're going to suffer all day. And tomorrow you're going to bring broccoli for lunch because we need you to lean out.
Yours. I have a test as well that I perform. The test is if I need to lose weight. Okay. If it's getting I know it's getting really bad. Is when I'm brushing my teeth, if my belly shakes while I'm brushing my teeth, I'm done, son. I gotta go on
right. Well, because like when you're training and you're in camp or whatever. I mean, I've never been, but I know guys that have been and been around guys that are, and I mean, you're a brick shit house when you're in camp. You're lean and mean.
Good
and
evening, Karen.
There's not an ounce of bullshit on you. It's set to kill. And then so I'm sure if you do eat a couple donuts or something, like you notice that shit in 5 seconds. You're like, damn, dude, I get boobs overnight.
I mean, but normally for you, Caveman, what do you normally do? I mean, do you count calories, or is it specifically? Is your diet or training regimen specifically set to whoever your opponent is?
So I used to fight at 155 pounds.
Okay.
And to give you an idea, I mean, my entire adult life, I've walked around at about 190.
Oh, that's a big cut. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big cut.
And so 190 to 155 was always crazy. But honestly, when I first started doing it, I could get that weight off super easy, because I was young. I was like 21, 22. And, now that I'm a little bit older, dude, it just, that ain't working.
Oh, I'm noticing
the
it.
metabolism's gone.
Yeah, it's gone. But, I am stronger. I have a lot more skill, per se, for just over years learning. I'm a lot calmer in the pocket, when I fight and stuff like that, because of just the doing it so many damn times. You know what I mean? The experience. And I got to a point where I was like, do I want to do this healthy or do I want to try to kill myself?
Right.
Yeah. So will your bare knuckle be 170?
Nah, they actually do theirs by so it's 45, 55, 65, 70.
Oh, it's every 10?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So what will yours be at, 75?
75, yeah.
Beautiful. So that's probably an awesome weight for you. You probably feel really good at 75.
Yeah,
huh?
I mean, 90 to 75. Like 90 is my walk around weight when I'm out of camp. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
yeah.
For me to cut that 10, 15 pounds is like nothing. You know what I mean?
For me to cut 10 pounds, it's taken 3.5 weeks and I've been suffering. So there's a difference between a professional athlete and a guy that sits at a desk for a living. We can definitely tell that. Yeah. We can tell that early on in the broadcast, folks.
Well, I've been practicing cutting weight, and changing my body dramatically for so damn long. What up, Cody?
What's up, Cody?
Hey, Cody. How you doing?
I've been changing my body for so damn long. Even though it's a little bit slower, it's a little more gradual process. I know exactly what to do. I know what it takes to lose that weight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I'm in camp, I'm doing 3 workouts a day, and I'm eating clean. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm burning way more calories than I'm actually taking in, and that's at the end of the day. People talk about diet this, diet that.
Science,
Here it is. Here's the easiest diet in the world. Burn more calories than you're consuming. That's it.
Dropping knowledge tonight.
I mean, come on. I mean, like,
it's true. I try to explain that too, and I have to watch what I eat now because I guess I'm 39, and dude, when I eat shit, it's bad. But before we get much further into this, should we bring Joe the Nose Wilk into the conversation? I think he's just kind of. I think Joe's just kind of sitting there in the wings, ready. He's probably got a bunch of.
Is here.
Joe Wilk is
Joe
here.
Wilk is here.
There he is.
Hey, what up?
Demented Brady Bunch episode.
Oh man,
Joe, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing great, man. Loving life. Thanks for having me on. Ready to talk some shit. Let's get it.
What's up?
Hell yeah! So, how are you feeling about bare knuckle, man? Was your last fight was a mixed martial arts fight, correct? And was that in Victory?
I think my last fight was a kickboxing fight.
Was that at EFC, the kickboxing fight?
Yeah,
it was. I was there. Yeah, I was there for that. Okay, awesome. So you decided to do a bare knuckle fight, and are you mainly a jiu-jitsu guy? I spoke to Fox about you a little bit because you and I had never met in person, and Fox had a lot of really positive, really good stuff to say about you. Just because I wanted to make sure I knew a little bit about you before we brought you on. I didn't want to sound like a complete dumbass. But do you feel like the bare knuckle thing is just like kind of a new challenge for you? To test your hands? Have you been working on your hands? Has that been something you've had your eye on for a while? How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, so like first of all, I love Jake Fox. I've known that dude forever, so I love that guy. Yeah, I have a boxing coach. I've had a boxing coach like a little bit over 2 years that I worked with multiple times throughout the week. I feel like in my fight career, my weakest range was in boxing range. Like I felt pretty comfortable in kickboxing range, definitely comfortable in the clinch and on the ground. I felt like that was my weakest range. And at the end of the day, I'm a coach, like I train. So I wanted to try to work on the thing. My weakest point. We were right. We're in that. We're doing that, and then this came up, And then the other thing is, man, like I am really, really, really shitty at turning down fights for money, or just like fights in general. Like if I get a call, it's so hard for me to say no. And so I got the call, and definitely I jumped on the opportunity, and I'm not scared to fight without gloves. I've definitely done it before, so I'm just ready to get in there and make it happen.
That's awesome. Go ahead.
About the gloves, I know there's some controversy about it, and gloves. I mean, I would assume if you can hit, you can hit, and that there isn't much difference between your performance and the weight of the gloves. How do you fellas feel about that?
I feel like no gloves is safer. It's safer for your brain. It's harder for your face. But it's safer for our brain, which is at the end of the day, that's the thing I think that we're all most worried about nowadays. Like Dave and I, neither one of us are going to get better looking at any point. So, I'm not too worried about getting my face scarred up. I've had, 100 plus stitches in my face.
That's the life.
Right. Yeah. So but I want my brain to stay sharp. So I don't mind fighting under these rules at all.
Yeah, because go ahead. Sorry, go ahead, Scott. Go ahead.
A lot of people seem to forget there's a shit ton of tape on your hand under those gloves. Does that matter?
It lets you throw without caution when you're all taped up. You don't have to take a shot. You can miss and typically be okay. But when you don't have any kind of wraps or any kind of protection, you really got to be probably a lot safer about what you throw, even though I'm sure some people, i.e. David, probably won't be any safer at all with the shots of tape.
Yeah, that's one thing I've been wondering, is we've got a couple guys in our gym, and a teammate of mine I think is the guy that you're fighting. But you do have these different training sessions where I'm never going to get into bare knuckle. I'm not even going to stand here and look at you and pretend that I'm ever going take a bare knuckle fight. However, I like to help the guys, and we work on that stuff and just some of the different tactical stuff that goes on with just bare knuckle as far as the blocking, how hard you're throwing, when to throw hard to the body, all that type of stuff. It seems like there's a lot of these nuances, and being a grappling guy, like I feel like I would be really tempted to clinch a lot because it's allowed in bare knuckle, right?
Yeah, you can definitely strike from the clinch. You can hold and hit. I think that's like a huge difference. There's going to be a lot of that. If you've watched bare knuckle fights, that's more what it looks like than guys just standing on the outside.
Right. It does.
Happen, but I mean, like, get in there. Like, I fully expect. It's nice to know you're training against me, though, bro. What's up?
No, I'm not training against you. There's an utmost respect around here. And I'm not a very good opponent anyway. I'm just a punching bag more than anything. I'm a good punching bag.
I'm kidding, but I love everybody. I love everybody over there, man. Fox Grillo. Me and LJ are super cool. It's just a fight. It's just a fight, dude. We'll hang out afterwards.
Yeah, it's like me and Sprout. It's like me and Sprout going to play a show at a bar together. That's your guys is going to play at a bar.
We're all working.
You guys want to? Yeah, you're working. You want to go throw hands, baby. It's awesome.
I think defense is something. Like, I know that LJ will be prepared because Jake, and then also like Cody Carrillo is a great fight mind. Like he like, I've always been shocked when I'm around him. Him and I have cornered David together on several fights, and he's his brain is crazy. So I know LJ will be well prepared, but yeah, I think like defense is a big deal, and just overall strategy. It's short rounds, so it's definitely different, man. But like, I'm ready. Like, I've always favored going hard, like, and short and fast, so like, don't tell any girls I said that, but that's
ladies out there. It's simply a metaphor. Don't take it too literally, ladies. Don't take it too literally.
They all know that they've experienced
it. So, Dave, what's up with the FC? What's the story with the next? Do you have any idea with Evolution Fighting Championships? For the people that don't know, Dave is also an entrepreneur, and he's got his own fight promotion. What's the word with the FC? I always enjoy those shows. I want to beat each other up.
Yeah, I own a Evolution Fighting Championship with a friend of mine who's a lot smarter than me, Steve Hansen. And man, we've worked our ass off to put all these shows together. And I deal mostly with the fighters and that aspect of the show is putting the fights together, making the matches happen, finding new fighters. Helping us branch out with new sponsors and stuff like that.
Right.
And he's the guy behind he's the Dana White behind the scenes, like telling the cameras where to be and stuff like that.
Producing,
his job is definitely hard. So, and he coordinates all the videos and stuff like that. But we're looking for something this year, man. Like, would be really beautiful. But the thing is, we have to wait for the casino to allow us. So we're just waiting, man.
Yeah. Man. So you can't. I mean, you're kind of up in the air. It's the same thing with us. I've had a couple people offer me shows here, like in the next month or so, and I really want to take them, but it's like, I've been hurt before with COVID-19. Okay, I just can't. Like, I released a single in January. I booked
PTSD on COVID.
Yeah. I'm hurt. I've been hurt before. I got PTSD, but I canceled a show. I canceled 15 or 16 shows. I released a single. I put all these runs together. Like, it was a ton of work for me, and every single one of those things just went up in flames. Yeah. So to start something new, or like as far as a promotion, to rent a venue and try to organize fighters, and to be like, okay, guys, this is all fluid. There's really nothing. I can't really tell you what I can't even imagine the fucking red tape that you would have to
crazy.
Endure.
It's crazy how that sort of business is intertwined. While you guys are more on the sports side of it, and while Dusty and I are more on the entertainment side of it, there still is a lot of work to be put together and to make something happen. And for you and your partner, Dave, to get together and make that happen for fans of you and other fighters to happen in our area, man, that's good stuff, man. That's really, really good stuff. And it definitely shows growth in fighting sports in our area.
It's been huge for me. I mean, I came up when I first started training jiu-jitsu. I trained with Marcio La Selva. It was shortly after I'd moved here. I went to a tournament. The first tournament I ever did as a white belt, I blew my ACL and I was out. I was out for a year.
Oh,
and I was like, man, fuck jiu-jitsu. I'm never going back to doing that stuff. And as I got more healthy again, I'm like, man, I'm going back to jiu-jitsu. And I started training again and just going down that path. So I don't know, man. I'm really baffled by how the UFC's been able to do it and how you guys have had this experience where you have to stay ready. Like, right, you're constantly in this mode where you kind of have to be like at ready mode, right? Because they could just fucking call you and be like, hey, by the way, we got something open here. See you July 29th or August 31st or whatever. I mean, that's essentially where you're at, right? You're just kind of in this limbo thing.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, if you want me to be honest, like I'm far enough into my career and I own two businesses. So like if I'm not ready and they call me, I'll just go, nah.
Yeah, not yeah. I got you.
Hey, right. I'm not ready, bro. Like I don't give a fuck. I want to win. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Yeah, you want to be ready and you want to feel good.
Unfortunately, man, like like I honestly feel like I am like, probably 5% of the fighting population because truthfully, like none of us really if fighting is your only job, you're barely making it.
Right. Unless you're Bones
Jones, unless you're in
mega stardom, right?
You have to be a mega star.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even the intermediate level guys, they were making 30 and 30. That's 60 grand. After okay, what about coaches? What about
taxes?
What about taxes? Yeah. What about all the supplements and shit you bought? Everything. The massage,
it all adds up.
And especially at the entry level, they're not giving you that shit either, are they? Like at the entry level, when you're doing your first pro fights, you don't have a supplement company going, "Hey, here's a bunch of free shit, Dave. Train." I mean, you have to buy. You have to buy it. You have to be a brand ambassador or whatever they.
Yeah. Right? No, I mean, a lot of these companies learn that they don't have to do that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
When the UFC first came around, like they honestly did throw a shit ton of money around for sponsorship. Dude, a lot of these companies they're just like, oh, we don't have to. Like they'll literally do it for $2,000. You know what I mean? So it's like,
right, yeah.
It's the same way the pool sometimes gets diluted for us as musicians. Sometimes all these other guys will take any offer that's out there. So if you're like, I'm not doing that type of gig for less than $100, some other guy's like, I'll do that shit for $10, and I'm like, you motherfucker!
I'm in the business.
Poison in the well, man.
I'll undercut motherfuckers. I'll be like,
son of a bitch.
I remember.
No. Look, I'm playing, but like, I think that's one of the things. Like, Dave and I are super close. That's one of the things. Like, I've told him this too. Like, I'm most proud about is that there's not a lot of dudes that have set themselves up with fighting. Because like, if you're in fighting for money, you're in it for the wrong ass shit. Because there just isn't really money. He was able to turn fighting into like what he has now. Like a home and a family and.
That's making it. That's success because you've built something. Yeah. You've got something that's going to be sustainable, and you can leave on your own terms, right? You've got something sustainable there, and I got my business. I got this. My family's secure. I can leave on my own terms. If I want to take that one, I will. If I don't, I don't. And that gives you leverage at the negotiating table, right? To not give a shit and be like, yo. I mean, I know you can't be pig-headed all the time, right? But right. you can obviously sit here and go, hey, I do have some leverage. I can move on from this path if they disrespect me with an offer. Like right. You're not whoring yourself out to do it, right?
Yeah, and so for the longest time, like that was my relationship with Bellator was like that. I was the yes man. You know what I mean? And honestly, that's what ended up making me like the career that I had. 23 fights, most fights in Bellator history up to this date. And, I got that from saying, oh, shit, you want to fight in 2 weeks?
Sure.
Hey, you know what I mean? You want to fight fucking number 5 in the world? Go ahead. Fuck it. You know what I mean? Like, whatever.
Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah. I don't care. I'll fight whoever. You know what I mean? So for me, fighting has always just been like about the journey, about like the mental discipline that it requires to do it, and this and that, keeping yourself um, sharp here, man. Really, like that's really what wins fights. A lot of people don't realize that at this high of a level, we're all extremely talented, man.
Yeah, you can get switched off with one shot from anybody.
If you doubt yourself for 1 second out there, I mean, that's when you're gonna lose.
I got a question for
what's up, Lester?
Both you guys. What was the moment where you guys got done with a fight? I mean, in your before you even became professionals, what was the moment that made you say, "I love whooping ass and I love fighting"? What was that moment for you guys?
Go ahead.
So
Joe.
where you knew it was totally in your heart.
I've
always wanted to ask fighters that, because there's a moment like that for everybody that does something like this. So I just like to know yours.
Mine will be very different than what you're gonna think of. But Joe, go ahead.
Yeah, mine wasn't even fight. I wasn't even fighting. It was the first time I ever went to fights. And there's a local guy here from Wichita, Eric Payne, and I drove to Colorado to go watch him fight. And then like I just got a taste of the crowd and the reaction. And he won, celebrated like the thing. He won a belt, and I'm like getting to hold this belt. And I was just like, I mean, I knew right away that like I was like, no matter what, I'm gonna be in here doing this. Like I'm gonna go make a run. And I think most people will tell you it's like the first time you win, right? Like mine was that was it for me. But then the first time you win is like, like I've never done heroin, but like I'm sure it's very similar because like there's nothing like that, man. There really isn't. And I don't have kids, so I'm sure
I feel relaxed. I feel relaxed, drained, and sleepy after a fist fight my damn self. So it's like,
so like all I know is that like I think that what got me like hooked for life was actually winning, but what got me hooked and what got me into it was just seeing it live and experiencing it for the first time, because that's different. It's definitely different.
Were you already training? Were you already training at that time when you attended those fights? Had you started training and kind of dipped your toe in the water and then been like, all right, yeah, that's what I want to do?
Yeah, I'd been training, and then I was traveling about 45 minutes. I think like 3 or 4 nights a week, probably to actually train with Eric. Eric choked me out, Eric Payne choked me out in my first tournament ever, and then he invited me to come. He had a gym in his garage, and so I would get done at my gym, and I would drive straight there. And then train with him. And so I essentially was like a training partner helping him get ready for this fight. So I was like invested, man. That's like the other thing. I drove all the way to Colorado through a blizzard. 70 was closed. We snuck onto 70. I was like, dude, we're making it like no matter what. And we end up, it was actually against Dwayne Ludwig, which is like obviously like a well-known dude. And Eric choked out Dwayne Ludwig in 26 seconds. And I was just like, yeah, like it was done over at that point.
Oh, man.
Dave, and yours?
And yours?
Yeah, so like I got like 2 fairly quick stories about how like I fell in love with martial arts. And the first one maybe not be like what people would expect, but I had always done like the fighting and like boxing and shit in my backyard, and yeah, we would just get crowds. But there'd be 100 people in the backyard from high school right after school. Everybody meet at Rickels' house, and you just put on the gloves and we fight. And sometimes those real fights. I had one little real fight back there, and stuff like that.
Were they fights where people had? Sorry, were they fights where people had like real beefs, or you were just saying, hey? Joe, were you just, or were you just saying like, "Hey, me and my buddy are gonna get our gloves on and beat the fuck out of each other"?
No, we ran it like a show, bro. We ran it like a show. So there'd be like 4 or 5 like
I'd have been there.
Like just friends fighting. You know what I mean? And then the main event would be like the real fight, like the people beefing and shit. They wouldn't wear gloves. You know what I mean?
Oh, sweet. I'd have been there.
But anyway, that's how I kind of fell in love with martial arts and stuff.
That's cool. That's cool.
Fighting and watching a lot of pride fighting and stuff like that. But no, I went and checked out a gym, and it was actually at a Fitness 2000. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yeah, I remember it.
It's closed now, but Fitness 2000. There was a guy teaching there named Don Long, and I walked in there, man, thinking I was like you know what I mean? I've been in a lot of street fights and shit. I'm tough, and I got my fucking ass whipped, like bad by like everybody in there. And like, dude, I'm walking out of that place. I'm like, 16, 17. I'm fucking crying, bro.
Yeah, your ego is shattered.
Right,
I'm like,
right.
Crying, you know what I mean? Like,
I feel that. I feel
get
that.
all these motherfuckers. You know what I mean?
I feel that, like, bro. Yeah.
I'm mad crying big time, and like, I always tell people, like, I think those are the moments where people usually decide if they're gonna keep coming or they're gonna quit, like little bitches. And for me myself, I was like, dude, I'm never gonna let someone beat me up like that again. You know what I mean? Like,
that's how it was for me too.
Determination.
I'm gonna hurt these people.
Yeah. I the first time I trained, I got thrown on my head, and I played one semester of college ball, and I lifted weights, and I was a fucking buff Jocko athlete guy, and I went to it was Wichita Jiu-Jitsu Club with Jake Smith. And that was like in the back in the day. That was when I tore my ACL, but it was after that. But I remember back to the gym, and a guy that was like 150 pounds just chucked me on my face. Like in 2 seconds. I mean, just like a little judo guy just freaking yoink right on my head. And just smashed me and passed my guard and sweat on my face and just gave me the business, man. And I'm like, I gotta learn how to do this, because I can't ever let anyone do that to me again.
For sure.
And you're right. That effort to come back after that type of stuff, like, is the striking part of it. I
swear, man, like, that is like the most telling thing to me, man. Like, there are 2 types of people in this world: the people that get their ass whipped and they keep coming back for more, or the people who just fucking quit when adversity hits their fucking front door. You know what I mean? And, and a lot of that is like, life and genetics and stuff like that. There's obviously a million factors, but man, yeah. So I kept going, and I'm a big, just keep showing up and you're going to get better. That's what I always tell my kids. But the first time I ever, when I decided I was going to start fighting, was when I watched my man's Joe Wilk. I had never been to a live fight in my life. I was training at this time. My birthday was coming up. My dad was like, yo, I'm going to surprise my kid with tickets to this fight show at the Cotillion. And we went out there, and amazing show, man. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm 17, 18. I'm just zoned in.
Lit up,
I've been watching this shit my whole life, and I'm like, it's right here in front of me. Like, I fell in love immediately. And then, Joe Wilk walks out, and he's all masked up in his bandana, and he's dancing, he's going crazy. He's like playing the crowd and going wild and shit. And I'm like, whoa, this is wild. And sure enough, he kicks dude in the face and knocks him out in like 30 seconds. And I'm like, that dude's a real life superhero.
What's up? Joe Wilk, ladies and gentlemen.
Joe Wilk.
So there you have it. My first ever fight that I ever watched live was actually the guy that I beat up all the time now, Joe Wilk.
Well,
Shots fired.
So what's the motivation? What's the motivation with bare knuckle? Are you guys planning on doing a bunch of those if you can stay in there and do it? Or are you planning to go back to Bellator for MMA? Or are you doing one-offs, or what's the situation there, if you don't mind me asking?
I think what's like super dope about BKFC is that it's like I don't know if it's everybody. I think it's everybody, but it's non-exclusive contracts for anything that's not bare knuckle.
Sweet.
So we can still go fight MMA or kickbox like if the opportunity comes up. I think that's so dope. It's honestly a cool organization. The dude that runs it like seems to be solid. Like he's done right by all of us. There's no lies and bullshit. So I think for me it's just like I'm on a little bit of a clock here. Like
of course.
I'm like 50, I'm like right around 50 fights in. I've been training over 20 years. I can't keep doing this forever. So for me, I think I'm just gonna like jump on every opportunity I can and try to get some memorable stuff out of it, and then ride along on David's coattails a little bit more after that.
Yeah, just kind of cherry pick the good ones on the way out, and kind of build some legacy fights, get some good experiences. Not saying cherry pick, but I mean, take on tough experiences, new experiences, things that are going to help you grow as a martial artist, as a person.
Yeah,
and focus on those opportunities and kind of go out your own way, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think
Joe Wilk's never been picky with his women or his fights. So I just want to.
It's good to know, ladies.
I want to go out. I want to get some more.
You're a man of my own heart, brother.
ladies,
I can verify his testament.
Joe Will, not picky. Ladies, you out there?
My chest.
And what about you? And what about you, Dave? Are you planning on trying to stay in bare knuckle and climb the ranks? Is it to improve your boxing? Is it supplementary to another Bellator career? Or, what are the ideas behind that? If you have,
so I signed a 1-fight deal, but here's it. It was a 1-fight deal to see if I liked it, right? Okay, because I've been watching this shit for a little while now, man. I like watching it, dude. Yo, this shit,
it's insane.
So
it's intense.
I enjoy it.
Like, I just want to get in there and feel it. You know what I mean? And like, dude, my boxing has never been sharper. Like,
okay,
just training that singular dynamic of just boxing has made my striking, even my kickboxing, much better. And it's really cool to see, but to sum this up, man, we're sitting down watching one of the bare knuckles, right? And I can't remember who it was that got handed the strap. Like it was a title fight, and they're putting the title belt on the fighter out there, and my daughter's sitting there watching with me, and she goes, "You're gonna be a champion one day too, right?"
That's cute.
All right. Good, I got you now.
That's what's up, man.
Hey, Feldman, you hear me right now? I'm coming for that belt, baby.
Uh-oh.
You heard it here
first, folks. You heard it.
So are they cool with the I know Fox told me about Joe a little bit more, like I said before, but he said that Joe was always really entertaining. And I know, Dave, you're always super entertaining in the cage, outside the cage. Is bare knuckle cool with you guys doing the theatrics on the walkouts and really embellishing? Are they encouraging that? Are they trying to discourage you? Is it formal? What's the thoughts on that?
They better be cool with it, because it's happening anyway.
Right. and for all the folks viewing, I gotta tell you guys about Caveman's walkouts, man. Those are some of the dopest walkouts I've ever seen in my fucking life, man. I swear they are. I was talking to him before we go in on live, and if you guys get a chance, go on YouTube and check out Caveman Rickels walkout Bellator 171. That shit was some of the dopest shit I've ever seen.
You'll probably see Joe in there, won't you? Joe's got to be in there.
He's at every fight.
I think I've watched all the Bellator fights, and I know I trailed off earlier, but I was talking about the knee surgery. The lady that was doing my rehab used to tell me about a guy around Wichita that used to fight, because I came down here and she's like, "How'd you fuck up your knee?" I was like, "Well, in a jiu-jitsu tournament." She's like, "Oh, my buddy's friend does that stuff, and they fight in backyards and they do all this stuff." And I'm like, "Really?" And so I started getting interested in it. And while I was having surgery and stuff, I started reading books about MMA. I started doing all this stuff, and I became a fan. So I kind of followed your career up through Bellator, from being, young here and being laid up on the couch and watching you, win in the lightweight tournament and having all those opportunities. And it was always super cool to watch. local guys make it out and have these opportunities. And these fighters, some of my friends that have been fortunate enough to travel the world and travel around and win, lose, or fucking draw, like to have those experiences and to say, man, I did that shit. Like, it's just something that everybody should admire. And it's something that I've always admired about.
Sure, man.
It's something I've always admired about what you guys do. And it's one of the reasons I like to train and be around guys like you guys, because it's like that guy threw caution to the fucking wind. You know, who knows what that guy's going through when he's walking through that cage, the trials and tribulations that he went through in his camp, the experience he's had, the emotional ups and downs with the socioeconomic, political environment that we're in. It's like all this shit, and people don't understand how laser focused you have to be at the level that you guys are at.
Oh, for sure.
You know, it's
here's how many people understand that. Less than 1%.
Yeah, oh yeah. I would imagine significantly less than 1%.
No one will really ever. I mean, unless you do it. That's why I always encourage people to do it. Like, I really think you should do it, Dusty. Yo, people do not understand what it's like to go, hey, I'm gonna fight another skilled fighter in front of friends and family in 8 weeks.
Yeah, and we're gonna try to kill each other, and that's it.
You have to go to sleep every single night thinking about that. You have to go to sleep thinking about it. He's thinking about it. You're both fucking scared shitless. The walk alone. I remember my first walk. I'm shitting my fucking britches, dude. I'm surprised this wasn't running down my fucking leg.
You're a good actor, though. You look like you're having a great time.
I promise you I am. I promise you I am now. But I'm talking about early in my career when I had to, you know what I mean? Like, we had to do it a few times to figure out, like, this is okay. This feeling is okay. You know what I mean? Like, because even when we're pro fighters, even when I have, you know, I think I have like 35 fights or something like that, kickboxing and MMA. But you're still terrified when you're walking. But
I imagine.
Does that make sense? Like you feel it coming, but you're like, no, it's cool. Like I felt this.
I felt that. I feel that way still every time I hit the stage. You know?
It's the same
thing.
We're not getting our faces punched in.
And I totally relate to you on your focus, because there's a reason that they call what you guys do a discipline. Mm-hmm. You really do have to be self-disciplined enough to focus on your objective, on your goal, the thing that matters and means the most to you guys. And this is why this conversation is fucking awesome for me. I mean, I'm getting a good dose of who you guys are and what you guys do. You guys are warriors like a motherfucker, man, for sure.
It's true. How do you guys fight emotionally? How do you keep the emotions down? Because I know for me, like, I think about it, I would probably have to be like, I would probably have to imagine this scenario where the guy I'm fighting killed my family. You know, to be able to have that mindset to go out there and smoke a guy like you have to have when you go in there. I feel like I would probably need to summon up a horrible story about the other guy, even though he's
every time that I personally have fought emotionally, I've lost.
Okay. And you hear a lot of people say that. I just wonder. So, do you thrive on it, or does it gas you out? Is that the biggest thing?
You're quite dumb. You don't think. You're not. You're. Yeah, actually, the opposite. You are thinking. You're thinking about how mad you are, how pissed you are that person disrespected you, this and that. You're not just relaxing, letting your fucking weapons go. You know.
Yeah.
You know, the best that I've always felt is like. You feel this peace come over you literally right before they're about to hit the bell or whatever it is, and you're about to walk out there. Like you feel this, like, all right, I'm ready.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like all of a sudden here it is.
Peace. Like you don't care about fucking hurting this guy. You're just like, I'm just ready to fight. I feel
for
good.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But when I'm mad and I'm like, I don't want to hurt this guy. Dude, I've always got mad.
So you don't have to put you don't have to put your place there. You don't have to put yourself in that place where you're like, I hate this motherfucker. This dude's been.
I think some people do. You know what I mean? Like I think some people do, but like for me personally, that shit is not work.
Yeah, it feels to me like it would sap a lot of energy. I even in the jiu-jitsu stuff that I've done, like when I've gone out there and tried to be like Eye of the Tiger and like all pumped up and doing crazy stuff before and trying to intimidate the other guy, you just go out there and gas out in like a minute. And I'm like, man, I really did not showcase my best today because I was emotional or let the nerves get the best of me. It's the same with music though. Like Sprout said, you go up there and you're nervous as hell and it's a bigger crowd than you're used to, or you're not feeling great or something like that. You don't have a choice, man. You got to go up there and try to put on a good show. And sometimes it's embarrassing as shit. And you stand up there for 45 minutes with a room full of people that hate your music. And you're like, I just want to be somewhere else. You almost wish someone would just come up there and knock you the fuck out so you didn't have to endure the 45 minutes, like not trying to pale what you guys do. But
so I actually rapped one time.
Okay.
I have like a really good friend of mine who performs and does shows around Kansas City, and he's from Wichita. His name's S.K. Miller, and
I am familiar with that name.
Oh, okay, yeah. So he's been performing for a long time, man, and I can't remember what the name of the place was here in Wichita. It was like a small little venue. He challenged me to like do a verse on one of his songs. And I was like, bet, all right. And dude, I'm dead serious. Like that felt the exact same as a fight.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like,
yeah.
It does.
The directly for like it felt exactly like a fight. I was like, dude, in my head, I'm like, I'm not gonna remember anything. I'm not gonna remember anything. I went up there and killed it, dude.
I totally related to you as you were describing, the feeling and what's going on in your mind. I totally related to that. I was like, damn, this motherfucker might as well be singing.
It's very similar.
Every demon that creep in does.
Right.
It's all performance, right? We're performing. Like it's the same thing with me. I did open mic stand up a couple times, and I was flipping shit, and then but also the other side of that is the euphoria you guys feel when you kill it is very similar too. I noticed that when I got done, like I did open mic stand up twice, and I bombed once and killed it once. And the time I killed it, it felt very similar. It felt like I won a fight and lost a fight. Like it really did feel like that. Like.
And while we strive for consistency in those situations, it ain't gonna be roses and lemonade and brownies all the time.
Yeah. There's different stuff like that. Sprout, do you remember the John Corabi show in Kansas City? So me and Sprout got to open for John Corabi, who sang in Motley Crue for a little while, but he was playing an acoustic show, and I drove up to Kansas City. Like I got off work, drove straight from work to Kansas City, and I was in a kind of a rough area in Kansas City where the show was, and I had some mean stomach issues going on, and I pulled over to a Quick Trip, and I was like, nah. And I pulled over to another place, and I was like, nah. And it got to the point where, like, because you're opening for this big name dude, like you can't show up to sound check and fuck around. This guy has a tour bus, and it's like I'm like I got to get to the venue. I'm like, but I got to shit so bad. And I stopped in this convenient mart and went in there.
It's called the fear shits.
It was, and the fear elevated like 50 times because that Quick Mart next to that venue. Oh my gosh. I got in there and I was like 5 minutes to go. Okay, now go up there and play a perfect performance.
Right.
It's
the
like
absolute best you can.
Yeah, go up there and kill it. And it's like, dude, I'm not really in a mindset. I wasn't really chilling in the green room, like relaxing and eating cheese trays and shit. Like
I ain't gonna lie, but before that first chord, I'm like, man, I'm opening up for John Corabi. Like I was that fighter that was angry about what my opponent said earlier. I mean, literally.
Yeah, the emotion.
And I ended up having electrical problems that night.
Yeah.
I was fighting myself. That was the fucked up part.
It's the same thing though. You get emotional like that and you make freaking mistakes. You make mistakes. So what else, Joe? Are you teaching jiu-jitsu up there? You're in Manhattan, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I own and run Combative Sports Center in Manhattan, Kansas. So yeah, I'm teaching all the time still. That's what I do. So yeah, it's like my main thing. That's like really like my passion. That the one thing I probably care about, the only thing I care about more than fighting is teaching and passing it on. Being a mentor. That's like that's who I was for David. A lot of people say that all the time, like, oh, Joe coaches David. Like, I don't coach David. I mentor David. That's how it was for us. I don't like tell David how to fight. I tell him like
he's my second dad.
Yeah.
Well, but yeah, look what you've accomplished. Look what you've accomplished, though.
That's a beautiful thing in any craft. That's a beautiful thing in any craft when you can pass it on and help someone even potentially get better than yourself.
Yeah,
that's
100%.
beautiful.
David's done that tenfold. Like he's done things I never dreamed about doing. So
right.
Yeah. So it's been a great ride. But yeah, man, I'm still coaching all the time. We're still having problems with this social distancing. Like we're open right now, but we've got to keep 6 feet. So it's like a lot of solo drills and mobility stuff, and it's whack as fuck. But like hopefully we're back to like normal stuff soon.
Has that impacted your guys' training for COVID? Like during COVID, has that impacted your training not being able to spar, or have you guys found workarounds for that? Where you?
I mean, obviously, y'all within 6 feet. Let's
yeah. You're throwing.
How tough is that?
I have not sparred in 2 months.
You haven't sparred in 2 months?
No.
So the gyms won't even let you in there to. I mean, even with like speakeasy type shit, to call in a few guys and do stuff.
Probably could have finagled it, but like. Man, I mean, I don't know, like, especially early in this stuff, like, I honestly, like, I have a family. I didn't want to risk it anyway.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that makes sense. That's good.
Yeah, for me, as a gym owner, I felt like a responsibility to
not do that shit.
Make sure being safe, like, so, yeah, it's the same with me. Like, I haven't been punched in the face. I'm lucky though. Like my roommate, I train him. He's a dude from my gym, and so like we were compromised with each other no matter what. So we built a little home gym, and we get to train a little bit here and there. But he's a pussy, so it's not.
It's just like having a punching bag around. I just whoop his ass all up and down the house. So
that's how you keep up, huh? You have a roommate you could beat up on.
So there's not really a camp situation going on. Like you don't even know when to go. You don't even know when to go to camp.
Well, that's the thing. We're looking at like an August 14th date right now, and so we're starting to ramp things up. Like at least I know I am. I'm back to working with my personal trainer 3 days a week. I need to get. I'm trying to coordinate working mitts and stuff with my coaches. Which has been kind of hard to get coordinated again because everything's just kind of screwed up. And then like sparring is still cut off kind of. So it's just been a really, really weird.
Do you feel like maybe it might help you with wear and tear, or do you feel like you need the hard sparring to be conditioned for the fight, right? I mean,
at least like 6 to 8 weeks out, yeah, I need to be sparring.
Right. Okay.
Dude, look, okay, I've been around this game for a long time, man, and I try I used to do hard sparring 4 or 5 days a week. Dead serious. That's all we fucking did. And, then I'm starting to see all this stuff about brain studies and stuff like that, like concussions and shit like that. Not that I've ever been knocked out in practice or anything like that, but just like that wear and tear on your brain and your body, is it necessary? And I saw this thing about Robbie Lawler. Like Robbie Lawler didn't do any sparring for like 2 years, something like that, a year. I don't know.
Right.
But I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna not spar for a training camp, and that shit did not work for me.
Didn't pan out.
You had to. You gotta get fucking hit. You gotta be like okay with getting beat up.
Yeah, right.
Like you got to be okay with like you have to be like one of my favorite things doing like a sparring like session is like okay, someone's beating me, right? So say someone's beating me, they're getting the best of me. How can I turn this around?
Right.
Right, and like you have to be able to do that in live time, like with you getting punched in the fucking face.
Right. Yeah. You have to be able to call on that muscle memory or whatever it is to be able to solve that riddle. Yeah.
Right.
There's a lot of truth to getting ready and staying ready. There's a lot of truth to that. A lot of truth.
There's a big difference between sitting in your guitar and playing in your basement and then going out and playing in a venue where there's a bunch of other musicians around and people are actually sitting there watching you know?
Yeah, they're looking at you and they're judging you, right?
If you haven't played those game reps, you know, over and over and over in your head, I mean, it totally makes sense. I can't imagine me saying I'm not gonna practice for 2 years and then go play a show.
Shit, you know?
No.
Man, fellas, it's been an absolute honor to have you on our show.
Yes, we had an awesome time tonight, guys. Thanks for coming on.
Always.
Caveman Rickels, Joe Wilk, thank you guys very much for being our guests.
I really hope any of the Wichita listeners, like August 14th, that's the date that we're supposed to throw down bare knuckle, and I hope everybody comes out to support.
It's going to be a big night in Wichita. It's going to be at the Intrust Bank Arena, to my knowledge. If it's August 14th, we've got a ton of local fighters. We got a ton of OGs from this area representing Wichita, Kansas. Big Fish Bail Bonds, thank you for sponsoring the show. If you need help there, call 316-262-4100. Guys, please don't forget to share this in groups. Please don't forget to check this out on Facebook. Please don't forget to go subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out on Spotify. Joe Wilk, Dave the Caveman Rickels, we appreciate you guys coming on.
Thank you guys.
It's been a huge pleasure for us, and we really appreciate you guys opening up to us tonight. Thank you guys so much.
Much respect.
Yeah, for sure. I had fun.
Thanks for having us anytime.
Good night, guys. Thank you so much.
Yo, FatKid, drop that beat.
Well, I thought that's different. I said what I said and I meant it, or lamented. Words given weight without thought, and I'm cursing the way that I talk and the way that I ought to be able to pause and to say that the fault can be placed on my arms. To this playful assault, to disgrace in this arm. Pray for the day they could wait for the calm. You can't control the storm, only weather it. Whether it's 5 weeks and 5 days of rain sideways, or scorched earth, search for death or water left with all the thorns, with the petals gone. Settle on the breath of autumn. If the ground fits, wear it. The crown fits. If the crown